All right, guys, so let's get started. This is the Impact First community call, and I'll just be going over a few quick things, kind of talk about what is Impact. I know you all guys know, but since we're also recording, maybe other people want to find out that they don't know about it. Then we'll go over kind of our next, what we're shipping next, what's kind of coming after that, where are we trying to go with impact. So to start, basically where impact is coming from, our kind of broader vision is really, we're talking about scarcity versus impact or abundance. And this is really where impact is starting. It's from this thing called the Abundance Protocol, which I initiated a few years back. And there's a white paper and a book that actually released last year. And the idea is basically that, we have this economy and it's based on exchange value. If you create something, if you can create a commodity out of it, then you can sell it in the market. But with blockchains, we now have kind of a new way to move forward, which is with a consensus mechanism. If you see like um, Bitcoin, if you see Ethereum, um, the way they work is you don't just create something scarce, you can create something that's abundant, that's available for everyone, and you can still get rewarded for that. And that's really what network security is for blockchains. That network security, it benefits everyone, but the people who created, the miners, the stakers, and so on, they get rewarded through the ecosystem itself. And so the idea is that this is something that was not possible before. So the question is, how can we take this thing that rewards just one public good, which is this network security, and expand it far beyond that? And that's really where Abundance Protocol is coming from, and the idea behind Impact, really. So Impact, you guys are using it, but not everyone knows what it is. So the idea is basically to create um, a curation market for content, which is basically, instead of monetizing attention, which is how it's been done for the past like 20 years or so, what we want to do is allow people to create valuable things and not have to worry about how do I distribute it, how do I kind of create the engagement and attention around it, but rather you just create things that benefit the community, and the community, there is an incentive to look for um, quality impactful things that benefit the community, and kind of stake points on it through this impact, through the impact app. And the incentive is, you're looking for the most valuable content, and you get a certain like 10% reward for your effort to look for it and to find it, and for boosting it. Right now, obviously, we're kind of very small. We're pretty much, we're a few months in, but, we're only getting started with where we want to go. So the idea is, you stake on the content, and then the incentive is then not for every person to kind of build their own engagement um, infrastructure, which is what people are doing um, throughout, social media, but rather all you need to do is build things that benefit the community. And also you can collaborate, you can kind of come together to create something even greater, and the community would still reward you through this mechanism based on the impact that you're creating. So if you're collaborating and creating something even greater, you'll benefit more, as opposed to what happens now, that you don't want to kind of collaborate in the open, because everyone who kind of releases their product in the open, someone else will copy it. And if they have a bigger kind of audience, they can actually make a lot more money from it, and you end up with nothing. So that's the idea. That's what Impact does. We can go over how it actually works. Um, you log in the website. This is already logged in, but I can log out. This is what it looks like. You can see what it is. kind of a bit more explanation. The way it works is there's basically three main things you can do in the app. One is actually curate content. The other is fund the curations, which is through auto tipping, which is now auto fund. And you can kind of invite new members to the community. And all these three things, they give you an impact score, which you can then use um, to get rewards through the system. And then if you're a creator, you get rewards through the overall system. So you log in. This is the basic Naynar login. All right, so I cannot log in for some reason. That's a problem. All right, let me try this way. So this is pretty much the standard Naynar login into Farcaster for apps when it works. All right, let's try that again. All right, and then it's gonna bring you to this page. You're gonna see your impact score. If you're just getting started, obviously it's gonna be very low, or it's gonna be 0. And you can see your score for your as a creator, as a curator, as a contributor, and as invite scores are not showing for the overall, but it's showing for your rewards. So if you invite members, you're going to have also an invite score. Then you have your auto fund. You can reward the creators. This is the overall, and you can also see kind of your own contribution. And if you pull it down, you can choose kind of which way you want to go. The curation itself, you need these. It's done in Farcaster, in Warpcast. I know you guys all know it. Obviously, as I said, it's for the broader community. So you just need to install these in your app. You'll install it. I obviously already have it. And then if you see something impactful, what you do is you go to your console, which pull up in a moment, hopefully. There you go. And it's going to ask you how impactful is this cast. And that's what you're doing. You're staking points based on the impact of a cast, not based on kind of how impactful is the person overall in the network, but it's per cast. And that's the idea because, yes, users are obviously contributing a lot, but this is not just for the user. We actually want to kind of showcase the content itself and its value um, to the network so users can actually benefit from that experience and also then reward users for contributing. That's the idea. And then you can also multi-tip, and the latest will go in here, and then you can see your contribution. My main, there I have the impact bot and also my main kind of my main user, and I'm currently not contributing to the creator fund. I'm contributing to the special fund, which is the wildfire relief. But if you check if you're contributing to the creator fund, which is through impact bot, you would see exactly how your contribution is distributed. For now, you're only seeing the top 20. We're only starting to build this out, but there's 2,500 creators that you all guys helped curate, and then we can reward the creators and also reward the curators for their contribution. So just going back to um, what we wanted to discuss. So we kind of went over this. Let me go quickly over what we want to shift next. So the impact that works pretty well. Actually, the curated um, the timeline is it's real beautiful. There's from time to time there's a few kind of uh, things that we don't uh, love if people stake on um, things that are not actually kind of impactful to the ecosystem. And for that we have kind of the up and down vote buttons, which is if something is if you think that the curation is done well, if it's reflects the impact reflects well, you upvote it. If not, you downvote it. And that's the idea, because we want to make sure that the curation is high quality, because if it's high quality, then you'll have more funds going into this, because people will actually appreciate, yes, people are doing a great job of curating this, and therefore I want to contribute to it, because it's not some kind of, tip for tip or any of those, farming games that people are doing here. I'm seeing a few comments. How to invite people. So you don't really need to do anything to invite people other than your kind of natural interaction in the app currently. In other words, what happens is when you post a frame, when someone who is new to the ecosystem, when they multi-tip through the frame, there's your reference, you're referring them to the app, because they have to log in to multi-tip or to curate or anything else. And that's how you're inviting people, basically, that you're sharing your curations, you're sharing other people's curations, you're multi-tipping. And when people interact with those frames, then um, hello, GMGM. Um, so when they interact with those frames, what happens is, that's how they get invited. Um, and just going forward, we will create kind of new frames that will help you invite people, and so on. What's a high, low, or average amount to stake? That's a great question. So if you go to the app, you can just kind of explore it and see um, what's the average there. And based on that, that's how you can kind of determine um, what what's considered more valuable, what's considered less valuable. That's pretty much because it's a community decision, basically, that once we have more people using it, um, a lot more people are going to be staking and a lot more people are going to be voting. And that's how kind of the community consensus will form around what's valuable to the community, what's not valuable. And based on that, uh, based on that, you'll be able to kind of assess what any cast, how to value that. So that's that. So the staking, that works pretty well. What doesn't work well at the moment is the quality. I'm not saying that the quality is bad. The quality is actually awesome, but um, not too many people are using the QDAO points. And I can, let me see. So if I go to a cast um, that was already staked by anyone, if you go to, and you see it because there's going to be a frame from Impact Bot underneath it. So if you go to the original cast, not sure why taking so long. All right, so you'll see this, and you're gonna see how much was staked, and that obviously matches what was in the ecosystem. And then you see upvote and downvote, and that's over here. And based on that, you can kind of touch on how you're supposed to stake more versus using quality first. Thanks, Jackie. I'll go over it next. Um, so that's kind of the idea at the moment, but this is going to change um, going, this is going to be one of the updates coming soon. And the idea is that basically, while the staking works well, not a lot of people are actually upvoting and downvoting. A few people are, and that keeps at the moment the ecosystem pretty working well, in the sense that a lot of when you go to the timeline, most of it is very high, well curated, but some things are still kind of getting through. Um, so to just make sure you understand how the quality aspect works. So let's say you do see, some cast that was already um, curated. It has some points. If there's not enough points, um, you like if you think that it's being undervalued, what you want to do is you want to add more points. If you have limited points, so obviously you want to focus on whatever is kind of the most impactful, but you can kind of give a point here and there. Um, and so you would add points. But if the curation is done well, then you want to upvote it. If you say like, yes, this is 5, this is good, I'm gonna upvote it, and then basically you're adding a point. If it's actually if it's not, if it's overvalued, if you believe it's overvalued, or if it's some kind of spam, actually, if it's like you see it's like farming behavior, people are just staking all their points on their own content or whatever. um, it's okay to actually stake on your own content as long as it's like high quality and actually benefits the ecosystem. But if it's just some random stuff and you see like a lot of points staked, you obviously want to downvote it. So that's the idea. If it's curated well, you upvote it. If it's undervalued, you want to add points to it. If it's overvalued, you want to downvote it. So at the moment, this doesn't work so well, and the reason is, at least from my view, is that there's no kind of ownership there. That when you stake, you see the benefit to the community and also to yourself. But when you upvote, it's kind of, you do see the benefit to the community, but you don't see the benefit to yourself. It's like an additional chore, which works. It could work well in a small community. It doesn't work well when it scales, because what it becomes is that other people are you know people can kind of, it's like the problem is kind of, there people are abusing the commons, that people are coming to this ecosystem, they're doing whatever they want, and whose job is it to clean up the mess? So it's not anyone's job at the moment, and it shouldn't be a job. It should be something that you see the value in doing. So we're gonna change this a bit, and the idea is going to be that there's going to be more ownership introduced. And the idea is that you'll be able to subscribe to um, to quality, kind of quality control or something like that, and you'll be rewarded. You'll at the end of the day, or I'm still figuring this out exactly. Uh, Quality control is important. No, absolutely. That's what we need to do. So once you subscribe to this new feature, you'll get a set um, of staked casts. Maybe, I don't know what it's going to be, like 5 or 10 or whatever, and you'll go over each of them and decide if it's curated well. You can stake more points, less points, and you'll be rewarded for doing that in a certain way. I'm still working this out. And then people can still abuse that system, and because of that, um, you'll be able to, if you're the curator behind the original cast, to kind of bring it to the wider community. And then there's going to be kind of there's going to be an accountability for both the original curator and both the person um, who's doing the quality control. And then everyone benefits. The ecosystem benefits from the quality. The curator benefits from no one is going to be kind of just downvoting stuff, um, because you still can go to the broader community and say, this was not fair. and then the person doing the quality control, is maybe their points is going to be downvoted. Still working through this exactly how it's going to be, but the idea is that we want to maintain quality. We want to make sure that everything is done fairly. So we don't want, we did the notification thing where people get notified when they get points reduced. We want to make sure that everyone is doing, can contribute and is rewarded fairly, and that anyone who's trying to abuse the system, that they're kind of warned, and that it doesn't, people don't farm this thing, but rather actually use it well. I think it's hard to know what is reasonable value in regard to number of points. Yes, that's true. I mean, content, if it's something that's, a fruit or a product, it's kind of easier to determine. Content is very hard, but you have to kind of make, I guess, some kind of reasonable assessment that based on how kind of compared to other content. So if you're seeing other things in the ecosystem, and so the question is, if this is suddenly 100 points, is this really a lot more valuable than something else? Well, that's kind of up to the community to determine, but there could be some kind of consensus forming around value. Obviously, it's never going to be perfect, but it's going to be more, first it's going to be way better than what we currently have, which is kind of the, if people just like something or don't like it, because that's, just that's just based on attention, it's not based on contribution. So just went over this. Don't want to take too. I'm just gonna rush through it a bit. So we're gonna customize the auto funding. Right now, the way you auto fund, you can either auto fund. Um, Let me bring this back somewhere. Gonna show it again from here. So the way we're doing AutoFund right now, you can, decide on kind of the fund that you're going with, or at least, the percentage going to it, and you can decide on the curator. What we're going to introduce, for example, is by the end of the season, when the funds are distributed, you can decide, well, I don't want to distribute it, let's say, based on the points. I actually want to distribute it equally to all the users that are in my um, fund, and you'll be able to do that. You also be able to um, not only subscribe to curators, which is what we have now. So what we have now, that when you look at the curators, you can auto fund specific uh, individuals. You'll also be able to do it for a channel, which means that anyone who curates within this channel, the creators will get rewarded in the specific channel, and the curators. So if you want to promote your channel, that's one way to do it, because you're going to have quality content there, and you can bring your community to kind of reward the users there, and you're maintaining kind of quality throughout the whole ecosystem also. So that's what we want to promote. So that's customization, channels, impact score. I already talked about how that works. We're gonna kind of build more on that. Uh, Usually go with my gut feeling. Yes, I mean, that's usually how it is, um, which is perfectly fine, as long as it's not like, a million points. Um, but usually that would not happen. So again, the impact score and invites, we're gonna build more frames to kind of help you um, with the invites, and you're gonna have kind of a little chart where you actually see who you invited, because at the moment it's in the system but you don't see it. Something we need to build, and then you'll be able to kind of send a message, kind of thanks for joining. This is how you can kind of use this system for you, for your benefit, for other people's benefit, and so on. Um, automating impact rewards. So over the past few months, obviously we had the raffles and we had the rewards. I kind of want to make it completely automated. I want to make sure that, and it's going to be pretty much based on your impact score, but not, I mean, obviously I'm not going to be getting rewards for it, but um, you guys, whoever is contributing, you'll be able to see your score, and you'll be able to kind of participate in that. And based on your participation and based on your score, there's going to be a little randomization involved. It's not going to be one-to-one, so it's going to be like a bit gamified, but it's going to be relatively based on how much you contribute, how much. It's not going to be, the creator score is separate because creators are rewarded through the system itself, but to kind of grow this ecosystem, promote it, it's going to be based on your scores. There's going to be a little bit of randomization. So, whatever is, and that's what's going to come from the growth fund. So basically, the growth fund is gonna, instead of distributing it from my account, is gonna be going, you can contribute to the growth fund so we can kind of expand it further, and users will be able to get rewards through that for their contribution, and a little bit of, gamifying, because, why not add some fun to it. So that's that. Just wanted to talk about kind of narrative, and Farcaster was built, and especially Warpcast is built on this concept of social proof of work. It's this idea that the more you kind of grind, the more you um, post content that the algo likes, the more kind of followers you're going to get, the more likes you're going to get, the higher you're going to get in the system. But problem is that you have to keep grinding, that if you take a break for a week, you cannot, and this is not a good, it goes back to how old social media works. You're rewarded for being constantly online. It's not healthy. It's not really um, inspiring. It's just work. It's just a grind. And it's not kind of based on any value you're creating, because you know, we know social media. We know that you can, create just a lot of toxic content and still get a lot of followers, get a lot of likes, and that's not a way to um, build something that's kind of sustainable. This is something you create a lot of tension. There's a lot of conflict that you're creating. We prefer proof of impact, and proof of impact is what we're building. If you're creating something that benefits the community, you don't have to be online 24/7. Maybe you're actually creating it. Maybe you're coding something. Maybe you're um, doing something else that benefits. Like, we're talking about real community as opposed to just posts online, which is, that's just what you see. There's a lot that goes kind of behind the screen. There's actual kind of people and communities that are forming on Farcaster. And if you're contributing something but it's not seen, it should still be rewarded. Like, if there's no kind of, post that constantly updates, uh, on what you're doing, you still should be rewarded if you're benefiting the community. And that's the idea. That's the proof of impact. If you're creating an impact, you should be rewarded. Benefits everyone. You can kind of build it as a community. You can kind of come together, say we all created this, and therefore, we can all be rewarded for promoting this. I was kind of worrying about. All right, so I went. All right, so I clarified the invite stuff. We'll discuss this more. I mean, I don't want to take too much time for that, but there's going to be a lot more discussion on that. In the chat group and on the channel. So just a few points. So that's kind of, that's what we're shipping in the next few weeks. This is kind of our broader narrative and why impact. We're small now, but we're gonna grow a lot more because our narrative is just stronger than the Farcast, not the Farcaster, but the Warpcast narrative. And because of that, um, we are going to accelerate this transition to a more proof of impact environment because it benefits everyone, and that's where we're headed. Client integration. So again, currently, we have the app. It's sort of like a mini client. It's not um, there yet. Obviously, some posts are not shown as they are. A lot of work goes into making sure all these things work. And since we want to build a lot more things, there's limited time. So the real idea is to use this system in a way that's a lot more integrated. Um, Warpcast now introduced labels, which is, I'm gonna learn a lot more about it. It just came out recently, but that kind of allows, at the moment, more information. You've seen probably that the spam labels were released, but if that information is more integrated into Warpcast, you'll be able to kind of see the information more clearly. And that's the idea. We want it to be more integrated within your actual client versus somewhere on an app that people don't want to jump back and forth. And from day one, I realized that's not the way to go. You're either kind of most of the time within the Warpcast or some other client. So thinking about integrating kind of more directly into the client, into Warpcast is a bit tougher, of course, because you need to kind of the Merkle team to be behind this. But there's other clients out there, and we're looking into that. Um, Next, special impact fund. So right now we have the wildfire relief. Next season, which is kind of coming up next month, um, let's have some community input on what we want to fund. We want something great, something that benefits the Farcaster community. And am I missing someone? Someone trying to join? Uh, Someone raised their hand.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah, yeah. I was just you were saying you were talking about funding and the fire impact, and I mean I'm currently doing stuff like that, so I was just I was raising my hand for that, and then the following, which what we're gonna do in the future.
Uh-huh. So you want to kind of bring something forward for the next one, or
I want to know how long you think it is until we're in it. Yeah, I mean, because even for right now, the fire like that I don't know how long you think that like that's gonna be. Like, would that be a long kind of in the thing, or I'm not sure. Like when does that I guess end? I guess.
so at the moment we're looking at it as season to season. Um, if we want the next special fund, which is starting next season, as in February, if we want to continue with the wildfire relief, I'm perfectly fine with that. But let's have some kind of community discussion on what that should be. That's kind of what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, so that's that. We're gonna discuss this more, obviously, in the channel, in the group, and so on. How do we increase community ownership? So that's kind of one of the main um, reasons we have the community call. I want to kind of get a lot more um, feedback. I don't want it like this is really the whole point of impact is not that like should not be builder based as in I'm building this and you're using it. It should be really a movement. We're all part of it. Your curation is a massive contribution to this. Like you're contributing to something that's much greater. And obviously as this grows, people should be see the rewards um, of their labor. That's the idea. um, and this is really about changing the way of how things work now to kind of benefit everyone. So I do hope you guys feel that you're all part of this. I'm really grateful for everyone who contributes, and the more um, you contribute, the more you kind of put your foot forward. I'm hoping that this whole thing grows, and you get kind of a greater benefit of that. I'm wondering if we are interested in climate change. Yeah, so let's introduce that in the channel, and we'll kind of, maybe we'll have um, a vote on like top few ones to discuss. So just on the ownership point, that's my goal. My goal is that to bring you guys, the ones who are really um, who like this app, who want it to be not just an app but something that benefits everyone and that you benefit from. um, I would like you guys to um, kind of give more feedback on how we can create more ownership for each of you, create more kind of how what can we do as as this app, as a community, to make sure that what you're doing, that um, if you're doing something that's impactful, how is that being rewarded, how is that being recognized? So I want kind of more feedback on that if possible. And that's kind of the next point, like what should we build next on top of what we're already doing that can benefit you guys more. So open floor. Any questions, any suggestions, anything you want to discuss? Um, Let me close this thing somehow. There you go. Or are there anything I miss? I don't know. Jackie, did I miss anything from the chat? Um, Explain why I don't have an invite score. So just one point on the invite score. So the way it works is it's not just inviting someone, it's actually inviting quality contributors, which means that if you invite someone and then they start to build their score, which means that they're either curating or contributing or inviting others, they would get a score, and you would get kind of a portion of that score. Like they still have their score, but you get an additional bonus for bringing in a quality contributor. That's how it works. It's not just someone signed in, therefore you get more points, because that's easy. Sorry, that's easy to abuse, and we want kind of more quality. Yeah. Um, Spitball, please. Who judges the quality? Same way that people stake, the curators stake points. Um, by what metrics? By community consensus, basically. That's the idea. You're aiming to with staking points. You're aiming to basically say, this is how much I believe this cast is valued by the ecosystem. And then the ones who are kind of doing the quality, same thing. They may say, well, I believe this is actually undervalued or this is overvalued. This is not based on kind of your personal view, it's based on what you believe the ecosystem um, believes. And the idea is that the more kind of people interact with it, um, you can establish a sort of consensus. And once there's kind of economic value behind it, um, there's going to be more alignment around what's more valuable, what's less valuable. Because what would happen is, and that's kind of what abundance protocol is based on, and kind of what this whole process is based on, that yes, it's hard to evaluate content, um, but you can still say like this is more valuable, this is less valuable compared to other things. But once you kind of align the economics with it, which basically, if you have money on the line and you're saying, do I want my money going toward this thing or that thing, or at what extent, you would want the money to go toward whatever is the most impactful in the ecosystem more, because that helps, you know, the ecosystem grow, and it doesn't kind of devalue your money. So uh, when you have this alignment of the economics with what benefits the community, then kind of the whole system can function. At the moment, we don't have the economic engine working yet, just because we're so small. Um, but as we grow, as more kind of tips and later other tokens flow through the system, um, it's going to be um, people are going to be building tools also on top of it to actually kind of assess value more accurately. If it's, let's say, if it's a big project, we'll need that. Let's connect on LinkedIn. All right, I'm gonna, yeah, sounds good. And just wanted to bring up one thing on the invites, which was pretty cool. I mentioned it today in the group and on the channel. This giveaway from Cronus, who was giving away 1,000 degen for basically users, for people to use the multi-tipping functionality of Impact, which is completely their initiative. That was really great. But that's kind of a way of own. That's what I mean by ownership. That, you kind of, you take it on yourself to kind of build this thing. And what happens is that new users, when they come, they're gonna be referred by Cronus, and then they can get points for doing that, and that kind of keeps the system going. And right now we're still playing in the kind of attention um, market, which is what Warpcast is at the moment. But at a certain point, we wouldn't need that, because if the system is deeply integrated into the client, then you don't need kind of, to bring attention to it, because it's already part of the system. And then people can just focus on creating. And that's where we really want this to go. We want people to um, enjoy their experience, to build communities, to be able to collaborate, to be able to build and be rewarded for what they're building. And I think that's a much better narrative than what we currently have on Warpcast, which is, come here to make money for, you know, um, engagement and stuff. Um, yep. Anyone wants to bring kind of other topics or something about channel funding? Yes. Right. So we have right now um, the general kind of the general creator fund, which distributes it to all the creators that have points staked in the ecosystem, and you can also um, kind of do it through a curator. So basically, if you have a curator selected in the auto funding, that means that instead of your funding going to the whole ecosystem, it would go to their set of creators that they curated. And you can do it for multiple curators. You can select like a few of them, and then that's where the funding is going to go. But what we can do next is you can do it for a channel. So instead of selecting a specific curator, you can select the whole channel. And then anyone who curates within this channel, the creators will be rewarded, which means that the creators have an incentive to kind of create quality content within this channel, and curators have an incentive to maintain the quality of the curation within that channel. And later we can introduce maybe a bit more channel specific stuff, like maybe if something is low quality, you can kind of hide it from the timeline, stuff like that. But also you'll be able to see by the channel, um, and I think at the moment you can already see it in the app, that basically you can choose a channel and then you see what's the content that's curated there, and you can sort it by the day, the impact, and so on. Are most of the posts and content from creatives, art producing, or is there other content being rewarded, impact like educational articles? So the idea is really to reward anything that's impactful. um, at the moment, yes, uh, most most of the impact is kind of is art related, but we want to reward anything that's impactful. If someone writes an article that benefits the ecosystem, if someone, we want, we want journalists to come here to Farcaster. We want builders to come here and to be rewarded for creating something impactful. And that's kind of the idea. So that's the incentive that we want to build into impact, and it is right there. But we have kind of a focus at the moment. um, I guess based on the people who are curating, maybe that's what they see on their feed. Maybe it's mostly art, so that's what they're curating. But it should apply to everything. If you're seeing someone building something great, stake on that. If you're seeing someone writing something great, stake on that. um, Anything should be, anything impactful should be rewarded. I don't know what the emoji is, but I'm assuming it's something good. It's just showing as a box right now. All right, high tens. Sounds good. Anything else? All right. If no one has anything, let me give you another kind of moment if anyone has anything. Um, Otherwise, this was a good call. I hope I was talking almost all of it. Um, but I hope I answered a bunch of questions. And obviously, if you guys have more questions, suggestions, anything, we can discuss it in the channel. We can discuss it in the group. If anyone is not in the group but wants to be invited, I'll invite you. Um, I can share the link here. Today, appreciate everything you can do, and great to see you as well. Thank you so much. Let me just share the link to the group in case you guys, if anyone is not there. So just quick second. All right, so that's the group. If anyone is not there and wants to join, that's how you join our secret impact group. If anyone has any other questions, please, um, you know, bring them up now, questions or anything else. Otherwise, we can close it. We're going to do this regularly. We can do this either bi-weekly or monthly. Let's see how you guys are feeling about that. Something is there going to that we can do to visually edit the frames into the style of channel? Oh, that's a good question. Um, Potentially, I do want, again, as I said, ownership. I do want you guys to be able to have more customization options. If especially if you share your kind of curated content, maybe kind of the background could be a bit different. Um, so that's kind of my thinking. Obviously, everything needs to be built, and everything takes time to build. And we need to, especially now, everything. I'm trying to move it as fast as possible. Um, and that also another point that I didn't bring up is the development fund, and the idea is that goes toward building this thing, and you know, I, the project is open source, and if someone joins in and wants to build something, wants to kind of um, add more functionality to the frames, build a custom frame, whatever it is, um, we can also kind of use the money from the development fund to go toward, you know, those who contribute to that. Biweekly would be great, and it would help us to connect within the group as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's have some kind of more feedback on that. I'm okay with two bi-weekly. I'm okay with monthly. I don't want it to be kind of a chore. Like this is an hour of your guys' time. I know some of you had to cancel a doctor's appointment for this, so you know uh, I don't want to take too much of your time on that. So if there's anything else, let's say it now, or we can close it before it's an hour. Thank you everyone for coming here. This was really great. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I answered your questions. And if there's nothing else, no problem. Yeah. And if anyone is under the weather, feel better. Uh, well done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Later, guys.